If you're over 70 and find yourself waking up at the exact same time every night, usually between 2 and 4 a.m., you are far from alone. More than 90% of the older adults I see in my practice share the same story. They fall asleep without much trouble, yet their bodies wake them up in the middle of the night as if an internal alarm clock has been programmed to go off at the wrong hour. Many assume it's just normal aging, but the latest endocrine research from 2024 tells a completely different story. Scientists have found that most nighttime awakenings in people over 65 are linked to sudden spikes in cortisol, a stress signal the body triggers even while the mind is fully at rest. It isn't age, it isn't bad habits. It's your nervous system and adrenal glands sending the wrong messages at the wrong time. The good news? Those signals can be corrected. And over 3 decades of working with older adults, I've witnessed remarkable changes simply by using the right natural compounds, ones that have been studied carefully and shown to be both safe and effective. Recent clinical trials suggest that when these nutrients are taken properly, right type, right dose, right timing, nighttime cortisol can drop by 40 to 70%. Deep sleep increases noticeably. And most importantly, people wake up feeling lighter, clearer, and more alive than they have in years. Before we dive into the 5 sleep-supporting nutrients that have completely transformed the nightly rest of so many seniors, I'd like to invite you to do one small thing. Subscribe to this channel if you care about healthy aging, nutrition, sleep, and science-based habits that help you live longer and live well. It's the simplest way to support the work I've been doing for decades, and it ensures you never miss the kind of information that can truly improve your life at this beautiful stage of it. Now, let's begin. A deeper, calmer, more restful night may be just one choice away. Number 1. Magnesium glycinate. When I ask my older patients what scares them most about going to bed, very few mention having trouble falling asleep. What they describe, instead, is the uneasy feeling right before closing their eyes. A slightly fast heartbeat, muscles drawn tight like a stretched string, and those sudden jolts awake in the middle of the night with no clear reason. These signs almost always point to one familiar issue. The nervous system can't shift down into rest mode. And this is precisely where magnesium glycinate becomes a foundational support. According to the National Institute on Aging, nearly 70 to 80% of adults over 65 are deficient in magnesium, a mineral involved in more than 300 biochemical processes, many of which help calm the nervous system. When magnesium levels drop, the body becomes more reactive to stress, cortisol fluctuates more aggressively, and sleep becomes fragile, almost paper-thin. Magnesium glycinate is one of the most researched forms thanks to its strong absorption and gentle effect. In a 2023 clinical study, older adults who took magnesium glycinate for 8 weeks experienced a 31% reduction in pre-sleep anxiety symptoms, along with an average 18% increase in deep sleep time. Those numbers might seem modest at first glance, but for someone over 70, even a few extra minutes of deep sleep can dramatically improve memory, energy, and mental clarity the next day. What makes this form so effective is the pairing of magnesium with glycine. Glycine is an amino acid known for its ability to slightly lower core body temperature, a natural signal to the brain that it's time to rest. It also acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, turning down the volume of overstimulated neural activity. When combined with magnesium, which calms overactive NMDA receptors, they form a powerful and natural duo for evening relaxation. In my practice, patients over 70 typically notice improvements in 3 phases. During the first week, their bodies begin to relax more easily at night. By the second week, they fall asleep faster and toss and turn far less. By weeks 3 and 4, the most meaningful change appears. They stop waking so often between 2 and 4 a.m., the window when cortisol tends to surge. Another reason magnesium glycinate is so widely used is its safety. This form rarely causes digestive discomfort, unlike magnesium oxide or citrate. For older adults who must be careful with gut sensitivity, it's ideal. A common dosage is 200 to 300 milligrams about an hour before bedtime, often with warm water or herbal tea to enhance the calming effect. Sensitive individuals can start lower and increase gradually. What I want you to remember most is this. Magnesium is not a knockout pill. It doesn't force sleep. It works quietly in the background, helping recalibrate circadian rhythm and restoring balance to a nervous system worn down by age and stress. When this foundation is steady, other sleep support strategies become far more effective. Magnesium glycinate isn't a miracle, but it is often the first brick in rebuilding deep, restorative sleep for older adults. And for a body that has spent a lifetime working, caring, sacrificing, and worrying, this gentle support can be exactly the beginning you need to reclaim peaceful nights. Number 2. L-theanine. There is something many older adults confess to me after years of struggling with sleep. It's not the darkness they fear, but the moment their head touches the pillow. That's when uninvited thoughts appear. Household worries, health concerns, memories of old events, and a long list of unfinished responsibilities. The mind runs without stopping, and sleep quietly slips away. In moments like this, the body doesn't need a sedative. It needs the ability to calm the mind on command. L-theanine is a gentle yet remarkably effective way to do just that. L-theanine is a natural amino acid found in green tea, but to achieve therapeutic calming effects, a purified extract is needed. What makes L-theanine so unique is its ability to increase alpha brain waves. These are the waves present when we are awake but deeply relaxed, a state often described as calm alertness. In a 2022 study from Kyoto University, adults who took 200 milligrams of L-theanine before bed saw a 40 to 45% reduction in anxiety and noticeable improvements in sleep quality after just 2 weeks. The mechanism is beautifully simple. Once absorbed, L-theanine boosts GABA, serotonin, and dopamine, 3 neurotransmitters responsible for feelings of safety, comfort, and emotional balance. It also reduces activity in the amygdala, the region of the brain that triggers fear and stress reactions. This is why many people report that about 30 minutes after taking L-theanine, it feels as though someone gently turned the mental dial down. Unlike many sleep aids, L-theanine does not force drowsiness. This is crucial for adults over 70 who are more vulnerable to grogginess, instability, or morning fog caused by sedatives. Instead, L-theanine guides the brain through a natural transition, from tension to stillness, from alertness to calm. And when the mind softens, sleep follows without resistance. I often tell my patients that L-theanine works like a silencer for runaway thoughts. It doesn't erase them. It simply lowers their intensity until they no longer pull you in. This is especially helpful for people who overthink at night or those who have carried low-level anxiety for years without recognizing it. A 2021 U.S.-based study on adults aged 60 to 75 showed that after 4 weeks of L-theanine supplementation, nighttime awakenings decreased by an average of 32%. And many participants reported that falling back asleep felt easier, something they struggled with for years. This isn't an instant effect. It is the nervous system gradually relearning how to relax at the right time. L-theanine is simple to use. A typical dose is 100 to 200 milligrams taken 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Sensitive users can start lower. I also caution patients against drinking green tea at night. Despite containing natural L-theanine, it also contains caffeine, which works directly against your goal of relaxation. The most valuable quality of L-theanine is its long-term stability. With consistent use, nighttime thoughts become quieter, cortisol spikes ease, and sleep naturally restores itself week by week. Many of my patients don't notice dramatic changes on the first night, but over time, they realize they approach bedtime with less fear, fewer racing thoughts, and a deeper sense of peace when morning comes. For older adults, sleep is not just rest. It's the foundation of memory, mental clarity, emotional balance, and daily joy. L-theanine isn't magic, but it is a small key that opens the door to the quiet, steady calm you may have been missing for years. Number 3. Ashwagandha. There is something many adults over 70 don't realize. Their bodies have endured decades of accumulated, often silent stress. Family responsibilities, work pressures, illnesses, losses, and the emotional weight that comes with aging all add up. Over time, the nervous system becomes overly reactive, and the adrenal glands begin releasing cortisol even when no real threat is present. When I speak with patients, many describe the same feeling. One tiny thing is enough to keep me restless the whole night. If that resonates with you, ashwagandha may be the key to addressing the root of the issue. Ashwagandha is known as an adaptogen, meaning it helps the body adapt to stress rather than suppressing it. In a 2019 study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, adults taking 600 milligrams of standardized ashwagandha extract for 8 weeks experienced an average 55 to 60% reduction in cortisol, significant improvement in sleep quality, and a marked increase in morning vitality. Among older adults, these results are considered some of the most compelling to date. What makes ashwagandha exceptional is not only its ability to lower cortisol, but also its capacity to restore balance to the HPA axis, the command system that regulates the stress response. When this system becomes dysregulated, cortisol can surge at night, causing awakenings between 1 and 4 a.m. Thanks to its active compounds, called withanolides, ashwagandha helps recalibrate the communication between the brain and adrenal glands, reducing the false alarms that interrupt sleep. Many of my patients describe the effect after a few weeks of use as if there were a soft cushion between them and their daily stressors. Things that once triggered worry or tension now feel lighter, more distant, no longer powerful enough to disrupt sleep. This is especially important for older adults because research shows that emotional regulation declines with age, while sensitivity to stress increases. A 2022 survey found that among adults aged 65 to 80 who used ashwagandha consistently, 72% reported fewer nighttime disruptions, and more than half said their morning mood felt noticeably steadier. This makes perfect sense, as sleep and emotional health affect each other in both directions. When cortisol drops, sleep deepens. When sleep deepens, cortisol becomes easier to regulate. Most studies use 300 to 600 milligrams of a 5% withanolide standardized extract daily, typically taken in the evening after a light snack. Lower doses work well for beginners or sensitive individuals. Consistency is crucial, since ashwagandha works through gradual restoration. The strongest results usually appear after 4 to 6 weeks. I always tell my patients that ashwagandha is not a sleeping pill. It won't knock you out or force your body into drowsiness. Instead, it recalibrates a stress system that has been out of rhythm for many years. Once the stress response softens, sleep is no longer a battle. It returns to its natural purpose, a gentle, restorative process. Another remarkable benefit is that ashwagandha supports more than just sleep. Studies show it can enhance memory, improve mild muscle strength, sharpen concentration, and even support hormonal balance. For older adults, these added advantages are particularly meaningful. To me, ashwagandha represents hope, the hope that even after decades of challenges, your nervous system can be nourished, strengthened, and brought back into harmony. And when that happens, deep sleep can return, like an old friend you thought you had lost. Number 4. Phosphatidylserine. One thing I often remind my older patients is this: sleep is shaped not only by the body, but also by how the brain handles signals before the night begins. By the time someone reaches their 70s, the brain has been active for more than 25,000 days. That means the neurons have weathered countless cycles of stress, inflammation, and nutritional depletion. Over time, they become more sensitive, so sensitive that even the smallest stress signal can trigger a nighttime wake-up. Phosphatidylserine, PS, is a natural phospholipid found in brain cell membranes. When PS levels decline, a common occurrence in older adults, neurons become less stable and more likely to send alarm signals to the adrenal glands, prompting abnormal cortisol spikes at night. What makes PS so valuable is that it not only calms the stress response, but also helps neurons regain their ability to process signals accurately. A 2021 study from the University of Wales showed that when older adults took 300 milligrams of phosphatidylserine each evening, nighttime cortisol levels dropped 65 to 70% within just 10 days. This rapid improvement is rare for a natural compound. More than 60% of participants also reported fewer awakenings between 2 and 4 a.m. The peak cortisol window in individuals with HPA axis dysregulation. What sets PS apart is its ability to work at the command center of the stress response. When cell membranes are healthier and neural signals stabilize, the brain stops overreacting to harmless triggers like slight movements, subtle noises, or minor heart rate shifts. In clinical practice, patients who respond well to PS often report 3 meaningful improvements: more continuous sleep, especially fewer sudden awakenings; a quieter mind, with less of that mini-panic that some feel upon waking; sharper clarity in the morning, which research supports due to PS's impact on memory and processing speed. A 2022 survey of adults aged 60 to 80 found that consistent PS use improved short-term memory by 10 to 15% after 6 weeks, an invaluable benefit, given how closely cognitive decline is tied to poor sleep and chronic cortisol elevation. PS is simple to use, 300 milligrams each evening, ideally after a light snack to enhance absorption. I also advise patients to avoid pairing it with calcium supplements, as some evidence suggests calcium may interfere with PS uptake. Sunflower-derived PS is generally considered gentler and better tolerated than soy-derived forms. One essential point: PS does not sedate you. It doesn't flip a switch that forces sleep. Instead, it helps the brain recognize when it should rest and when it should stay alert. This allows sleep to unfold naturally, deeply, and without interruption, an important distinction for older adults who are often sensitive to stronger sleep medications. I once worked with a 74-year-old woman who hadn't slept through the night in over a decade. After just 2 weeks on PS, she told me, "I woke up and it was morning. For the first time in years, I didn't check the clock at 3 a.m. These results are more than numbers. They represent genuine transformation in someone's daily life. Phosphatidylserine acts as a shock absorber for a brain exhausted by decades of managing stress. When the control center finally calms, sleep is no longer hijacked by false alarms. And for older adults, a peaceful night's rest is one of the greatest gifts, one that brings clarity, stability, and a renewed sense of joy into each new day. Number 5. Glycine. Some solutions are so powerful that people assume they must be complicated or hard to access. But sometimes, the thing that makes the biggest difference comes from a molecule so small and simple that your body once produced it every day without effort. Glycine is exactly that. For many of my older patients, glycine isn't the first thing they try, but it is often the final missing piece that allows their sleep to become deeper and more continuous again. Glycine is a simple amino acid, yet modern research shows it plays a key role in regulating sleep. In a 2020 study from Japan, adults over 60 who took 3 grams of glycine before bedtime increased their deep sleep time by 25 to 30% and saw a clear reduction in nighttime awakenings. What's even more interesting is that their nighttime cortisol levels dropped significantly, suggesting that glycine not only enhances sleep but also helps stabilize the body's stress response throughout the night. One of glycine's most important mechanisms is its ability to slightly lower core body temperature. When temperature drops, the brain receives a signal that it's time for deep sleep. Younger bodies perform this signal naturally and efficiently, but as we age, the response becomes less sensitive. Glycine helps restore this biological cue in a gentle, effective way. Glycine also acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, calming excessive nerve firing. This is especially helpful for people who experience sudden nighttime awakenings, the kind triggered by cortisol spikes and sympathetic nervous system overactivity. Glycine reduces the brain's sensitivity, preventing the body from overreacting to small internal shifts while you sleep. For adults over 70, one of glycine's greatest strengths is its near-perfect safety profile. It doesn't cause dependency, doesn't leave the mind foggy in the morning, and rarely causes side effects at typical doses. Many of my patients even describe the sensation after taking glycine as a warm wave spreading through the body, helping them relax and drift into sleep without resistance. That's the beauty of physiological support, not forced sedation. A 2021 U.S. study also found that glycine can improve processing speed and morning alertness. It may sound surprising, but it makes perfect sense. When the brain sleeps more deeply and clears out metabolic waste more effectively, daytime cognitive function improves. For older adults, waking up with a clear and refreshed mind is a priceless benefit. Using glycine is simple. Mix 3 grams of glycine powder into warm water or herbal tea and drink it about 30 minutes before bed. Many patients enjoy its naturally mild sweetness and turn it into part of their bedtime ritual, a small signal that the day is ending and it's time to unwind. What's interesting is that glycine's benefits often become even stronger when paired with magnesium glycinate, as both support the nervous system through complementary pathways. For patients who struggle most with deep sleep, this is the combination I recommend most often. Glycine does not act like an instant miracle. Instead, it represents a deeper understanding of how the body works. By using natural biological signals, we guide the body back to the healthy restorative state that aging sometimes dims. And for those in their 70s, 80s, or beyond, deep sleep isn't just physical recovery. It is nourishment for the spirit, allowing you to wake each morning lighter, clearer, and ready for the joys ahead. Once we reach our 70s, the body may not respond as quickly as it once did, but that doesn't mean deep sleep is gone forever. In truth, it never left. It has simply been waiting for the body to find the right rhythm again. The 5 nutrients you've just learned about are not magic solutions, but they are science-backed tools that help the nervous system, adrenal glands, and brain rediscover the balance time has worn down. I've always believed that sleep is a gift older adults deserve, a gift that brings clarity, energy, and the joy to fully enjoy each day. And I hope that whether you choose one of these solutions or combine several, what you gain above all is a renewed sense of control over your health. Even small improvements can turn tonight into a better night than the one before. If this video has given you hope or a useful new perspective, it would mean a lot if you took a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me continue creating meaningful content for older adults who care about their health, and it ensures you never miss the guidance that could make a real difference in your well-being. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What time do you usually wake up at night? And among these 5 solutions, which one are you thinking of trying first? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every message and try to respond to as many as I can, because your journey toward better sleep is what motivates me to keep doing this work. Wishing you a peaceful night, a deep rest, and a bright, energized morning. I'll see you in the next video.